Hello, and welcome to another session and episode of Level Up with Charles Wright International. Today, I'm going to be your host for the book reviewing session, and my name is Nakai. Today, the book we're going to review is titled The Dream of Akosua Frempomaa, written by Bright Kweku Appiah. Now, this is how we are going to be reviewing the book. In doing so, we will firstly look at the summary of the plot. We will proceed to the setting. We will also look at the various thematic areas that the author brought to our notice. Conclusively, we will also focus on certain moral lessons, not forgetting certain literary devices that you and I should know about. Now, moving on into the first summary of the plot. A plot or summary of a plot follows the order the story was written or narrated. It makes use of certain narrative techniques to bring to bear the narrative that the author wants you to know about. And the plot of Akosua Frempomaa follows the story of the Achampons. And the summary of this book tells us about the very relevant characters of this book, the Achampons, and their Sandfield daughter, Akosua Frempomaa. The story follows the actions of Akosua Frempomaa in a time when she had nothing to a time when she had everything. How she proceeded to develop herself with what she had and how it impacted in her life. How did the things she had in general impact the society or the community, and what you would have done if you had access to such opportunities like she did. Now, the setting, we believe, focuses on the modern era Ghana or present Ghana that looks at our various communities like it was in the book. The story also makes mention of our present areas in Ghana like Ashaman and Tema, where Mrs. Achampon teaches. Again, the story focuses on the various affections and love shared in a local or simple nuclear family in the Ghanaian society. How does a mom show her love to an only child? How does a man show love to a small family? How do a family make use of little things that are available to them? The usual rainy day, the Champons have their roofs leaking. Whenever it happens, Mr. Champon has to do very well to make sure that it doesn't get to the room. It always gets into the room and floods the sitting area. Mrs. Champon is sitting down on one of the chairs in the sitting area, trying to find out what she can do to help her family. Should they relocate? And if they do, who will teach the children in her school in TMA? Whilst they were thinking on this, we find our beautiful Sandfield girl, Akosua Frempomaa, waltzing in through the rain. Now she steps into the flat and she's so full of excitement. Our little girl is full of life. She's the pride of the community. Akosua always sees herself as a very important person. Akosua knows she's going to be very prominent in future. Knowing that this is what she wants, she takes a leadership role of trying to gather all the kids in the community whenever their parents are out, so that she can teach them all that she has learned. Her mom, loving Akosua so much, always helps her activities by giving the kids lots of cookies and goodies. But we should understand the character of Akosua. She is a beautiful Sandfield girl, very strong-willed, and will do anything to help the community she is in. We also find the character of Mrs. Achampon as a very soft-spoken woman who likes to share love in her community and dote on her daughter dearly. We also need to understand the character of Mr. Achampon, who also loves his daughter and dotes on her very, very dearly. He is, as well, the pillar of the family. Now, this community is not so much of a wealthy community, since they do not have tarred roads. And in school, Akosua Frempomaa has to share a desk with someone. But the wonderful thing is, whenever she's going to school, she has friends in flowers that she meets at the corner of the block to her school. Now there's sad news. Now the Champons have to move. What will poor little Akosua Frempomaa do? She is to move with her parents, and she's going to leave her dear little ones in the community. Day comes for the Champons to move, and they move to a very new community, a very, very rich community that is, and they find their house located at a very, very beautiful area. And it is a two-story building. Akosua is filled with so much joy with the thought of how her room will look like. She decides to decorate a room. And it is then her father steadily reminds her to post a picture of Jesus Christ. It is the next morning and Akosua is very excited. Why? She gets to move into school or go into school in this new neighborhood. And she gets to tick off her bucket list, making new friends and coming top of her class. Now, the next morning comes in and Akosua moves to her school with her parents. Akosua is enrolled and she tries to make friends. Akosua is only able to make Mami her friend. Mami is a girl whom she met earlier on because her father, Akosua's father, works for Mami's father. However, there is a problem because Mami has a gang of friends who are not ready to accept Akosua. Why? Because Akosua is not from a rich family. She had to not go to school or skip class so she doesn't look weird. Is this some of the things that happen to us? And should this be the case where Akosua has readily available infrastructure given to her, this in any sense should make her a better student since she didn't have such a life. However, Akosua did not see this. One day Akosua was invited to a house of Mami, where she found out that the house Mami lived in was 3 times as beautiful as the house she lived in, with beautiful gardens. But it also came to her notice that Akosua's parents were never at home, and she never received the love her parents gave her. This, however, did not make her change her attitude. It actually made it worse. When her parents confronted and asked her about it, she only said she wanted to be a very rich person in future. Her father was, however, excited, but not so her mother. This is because at a time where the Champions lived in their old community, they showered their daughter with so much love. Akosua, feeling responsible to her parents and feeling that she needed to show such responsibility for that love, she decided to be dutiful. She was one of the most dutiful children in the neighborhood. She cared for her neighbors. She cared for her family. She learned a lot of lessons from her family, and she was one very respectful child. But not so in this new environment. This got her mother very worried. However, this does not change any of the actions of Akosua. In the end, we find that Mami and her family relocate as the business of Mami's father collapses. Now, the family of a champion collapses as well as the work or job of Mr. Champion also collapses. Now, they cannot live like they used to before, and Akosua is thrown in chaos, is put in chaos. She's thrown into a dilemma. How is she going to live the life she used to live? It is then that she is reminded of the love that her parents gave to her and how she has not appreciated any of that love. After finding herself in such a situation, she cries non-end. What is she going to do now that she has not the money they used to have? How are the champions going to live their life now that they've lost all the wealth and riches they had? Well, I am glad to let you know that in the end, it was only a dream. Akosua woke up abruptly after realizing that it was a dream, cried, and ran to her mother. When she got to the side of her mother, she realizes that they never moved. They've always been in the community they've been in Ashaiman. She promises to her mom that she will be a better child. And with so much joy, her mother announces that she will love her as well. And she promises to be the mother that she never was. Again, we find out that Akosua Frempomaa in the end is going to have a little brother who she will share all her knowledge with. What are some of the literary devices that were made mention of or that you and I should know about in the story? Some of the literary devices are personification. We see that where Akosua was worried about her friends who were the flowers, she always attributed to them human-made objects or flowers This we see as a form of personification. Move on to the diction of the author. The author made made use of words that could have been used in another sense, or that could have been described differently. And when an author makes choice words or makes uses of words that other words could have been used, we term it the diction of the author. What are some of these words? He made use of the word stayed, where her father stayedly looked at her and advised her to post a picture of Jesus Christ. We make use of the word trail, where her father spoke to her mother in allowing the girl to trail her dreams. Now we move on to another of a literary item, which we call the idiom. When Akosua got to the house of Mami, she saw that in the house was just the tip of the iceberg, which represents just a part of a whole. There were a lot of things that occurred or happened to Akosua when she moved from her old family to her new family in a blink of an eye. A blink of an eye represents something that happens very quickly. In the end, we have an aphorism that could be linked to an idiom, but mostly or more likely should be seen as an aphorism. And it's also linked to our moral lesson for today. It says, "Not all that glitters is gold." And that is our moral lesson for today. What does this mean? It means that always do not look at the surfaces of the situation, but move beneath a situation or what you see to understand the true nature of what is presented to you. The author tells us that we should try and appreciate the little things we have. For children, always be dutiful and responsible like Akosua Frempomaa was when she found out that she had the best of love and the best of attention from her parents. Always be content with the little that you have. Do not overlook the things that are closer to you. We see that Akosua, in her previous predicament, could have improved her life when she moved into a new house, a new environment, and in a new school, but did not appreciate the things she had then to improve on them when she got into the new school. She was, however, influenced by the new infrastructure, various amenities that were around there that were supposed to build her up rather. Now they were a pressure to her. She tried so much to fit into them rather than utilize them to build and make a better person out of who she is. Now what did she get in the end? She lost everything. Let's try as much as possible to appreciate the little things that we have around us. We should look beneath the surface of every situation and try to make the best out of it. Remember what Dr. Seuss said? He said, "Do not cry because it is over, smile because it happened." Remember that appreciating yourself and being better and also self-recognition will be the fundamental in trying to develop yourself and also trying to be appreciated by the public. Never give up. Always try to make the best of every situation you have and always be the best you can be. Thank you for joining me on today's session of Level Up by Charles Rice International. I am excited to have been, and I am so excited to have been your host for today. Hope to see you next week. If you have any comments or any addition, kindly leave it in the comments below and we'll get to it as best as we can. Thank you and see you next week. Bye-bye.